Hey y'all, welcome back to Reality Check Please. I'm your host Cassie and happy Monday. We are back with our Vanderpump Rules Shift Change Reboot recap. If you guys missed it, last week they premiered the new season 12 of Vanderpump Rules episode 1. And I know I'm a little late to recap it, and I promise this next week we won't get such a late recap. It's just last week was so busy for me. Before the end of the year, I wanted to make sure I went to all my doctor's appointments, got blood work done and all that good stuff. So I had to do that. And then we ran a sale on our Etsy store for Black Friday, sold out of some few things. And so I was just like swamped last week, but I'm blessed. So that is a good thing. And I'm so thankful for all of you guys who have supported us as well. Keep an eye out for some more last minute Christmas deals because they are going to come as well before we leave to Orlando for the Christmas holiday. But this week we are back to recap everything that we missed last week and recap anything new that is happening this week. Also, friendly reminder, this is where it comes in handy to follow us on all of our social medias because it's a lot faster to pump out short form content. And last week we did a lot of that. So make sure you're following us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So with that all being said, let's jump right in because we have a lengthy recap. First and foremost, I want to know what you guys think of the episode. Bravo, besties. I know if you are like an OG VPR fan like I am, it was very difficult for me to kind of accept that we would get a new cast when they announced it. Was I bummed? Yes. But because we are a reality TV commentary page, I made sure that I was open to it. I don't want to shut anything down just because I was not happy with the decision that they made. I wanted to make sure I gave them a shot. And I will say, I watched the episode when it premiered last week, and then I watched it again just to kind of refresh my memory before we did the recap. And I have to say, after watching it the second time, it's growing on me. Okay. It's growing on me. So maybe you just need a few more episodes or to go back and rewatch episode 1. But I feel like that kind of helped me. I also said this on our TikTok that I don't want to, I caught myself wanting to compare cast members from this new season to the first 11 seasons of Vanderpump Rules. Like, oh, they remind me of this person or this person's that person. I'm doing my hardest. I'm putting in such a huge effort to not do that, mainly because I don't want them to keep living in the shadows of such great characters from Vanderpump Rules, right? We want them to create their own identity. And so far, I think that it's working. So the episode starts off with an iconic intro. We got to see a few clips from over the first 11 seasons, which I thought was a nice touch. We did not get the iconic original intro. I feel like because they wanted to make sure that they transitioned it smoothly, which I understand. Even the housewives don't always have their taglines in the first few episodes. Those always come a few episodes in. So they may either revamp the intro with the same theme song or I don't know. I hope they keep the OG theme song. Honestly, that's the staple for this show, right? But the episode starts off with everyone is at work on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, right? For the most part, everyone is an established employee there. The only two people who are new, which I felt in this moment or in this little situation, felt a little produced. It feels like they casted Jason and Chris, who are cousins, who are from the Netflix universe, right? It feels like they casted them and then they had to figure out somewhere to put them, right? Because they were new to serve. We saw them in training. Chris is behind the bar training with Natalie, who is a cast member. Jason is a server who is training with Marcus. So far, we only have one established couple who are two servers, which is Marcus and Kim. I think they're a little toxic, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of that kind of play out through the season. So who knows how long this relationship will last. You let me know down in the comments below. The episode starts off with not only Chris and Jason in training, but I feel like the bigger part of the drama is where we have Natalie coming in after a few days off on suspension. She shares that she was in the restaurant on her day off with some family who was in town where she ran into her ex, who also is an employee at Sir. She ran into him at Sir on her day off. She kind of caused a scene, which got her to then get kicked out by Demi. Demi is a cast member. She used to be a server back in the OG era. Back in 2019, it says that she started as a server there. She is now an assistant manager, I believe. So good for her. Moving up. We love that. So Lisa comes into the restaurant. She has a one-on-one conversation with Natalie. She hears her out, but she also kind of gets very firm with her and says, you know what, you've been here a while. This is why I'm going to give you a chance, but you cannot afford to keep making these mistakes. Natalie goes back out to finish her shift where she sees a guy she's been talking to, Shane. I'm not sure if she works for Sir or if he's kind of just a Tom Schwartz of the show where he's a friend of the cast. We know that Tom never really worked for Lisa for the first few years. He was just Katie's boyfriend. So I'm wondering if Shane is more so in that aspect of like casting or if he actually works there. I'm not sure. We see where he comes in to kind of spite Natalie because Natalie, he says, has been playing hard to get. Him bringing in the girl also kind of felt very like fake, only because she came in just to kind of like do her bit, but she wasn't going to go to the Beaumont with them afterwards. And that's when I was like, okay, he really like just needed somebody to come in with, and like he found whoever and brought her in. That's what it felt like to me, but let me know what you all think. Before they wrap up their shift, and when Marcus is actually training Jason, he shows him like kind of like some secret tricks on how to sneak drinks. He not only shows him how to sneak sangria in the kitchen from like their brunch menu, but also, I don't know how he was able to get his hands on some shots, and does shots not only with his trainee, but with Venus. Honestly, guys, Venus is my favorite. I think he is the star of the show. And not to already label somebody the number one guy in the group, but I feel like Venus is going to be the next like big star out of Vanderpump Rules. Back to Marcus sneaking drinks. We're going to cover that at the end of the episode because it gets brought up during Lisa's opening meeting with the staff. But after they wrap up their shift, they all head to the Beaumont. We've seen the Beaumont on previous seasons, and honestly, my favorite moment of the entire episode had to be this man just kind of like walking by, staring at them like he was completely in a different universe. He was like so gobsmacked at what he was watching unfold in front of his eyes. It was my favorite moment of the entire episode. And I think it kind of sums up how everyone felt about like the new reboot. The Beaumont is actually where we see a little bit more of the drama unfold. We kind of get to see a little toxicity kind of come out in Marcus and Kim's relationship. And not only that, we get to see the cast out in the wild for the first time in this season, right? The episode opened with them at work. Now we're getting to see what they look like and how they act outside of work. And I think that that is a huge key component. Kim shares that she feels ever since her breakup, Natalie has been searching for attention from anybody that will give it to her. Even Kim's boyfriend, Marcus. Kim shares how she feels that sometimes Natalie can kind of cross the line in the way she acts towards Marcus. And while I understand where Kim is coming from, especially with the track record that comes with Sir and Vanderpump Rules, right? In the earlier seasons, we saw where Jax and Kristen had their affair being best friends, and they considered themselves also as siblings, which is what Natalie's excuse is when it comes to Marcus, and says he views me as my little sister, as his little sister, as if that ever stopped anyone before. I feel like at this point, Venus is caught in the middle because Venus is actually really good friends with Natalie, but he's also very close friends with Kim and Marcus. What I didn't like was when Venus, although Venus is my favorite, I didn't like when he told Marcus, like, you should have stuck up for Natalie. I mean, given in the edit, it made it seem like he should have stuck up for her instead of Kim. I don't know if those were his intentions, but in a couple, I feel like you should always stick up for your partner. I mean, how many times did we see over the first 11 seasons where Tom Schwartz never backed up Katie in their dating relationship and in their marriage? And look where that led them. Like, I feel I'm a firm believer that you should always stand up and back your partner, especially in public, and then in private, like kind of share your feedback and all that good stuff. So I side with Marcus in this one instance, but Venus is still my favorite. Kim then shares that her biggest issue is that if Natalie could do what she did to Demi, not Demi's, not Secret Lives, to Demi, then she'll do it to her. This is when Demi shares that Natalie's ex-boyfriend was actually Demi's ex-boyfriend first. Demi shares that the day that her and her ex-boyfriend Paolo broke up was the same day that he was sucking face with Natalie. And one thing I have to say, I do kind of feel like I'm seeing that little like attention seeking in Natalie, but we'll see how the season progresses. Let me know what y'all think. After the Beaumont, we catch up with Marcus and Shane at the gym, Kim and Venus at Kim's apartment, and Natalie at the recording studio with Demi. Marcus shares with Shane his version of what happened after the Beaumont, and Kim does the same with Venus at her house. Long story short, she was upset. I think we could all kind of see that. They get back to her place. He gets upset and I guess doesn't want to talk about it, so he goes home. She calls him, she says 100 times while he's on his way home. He gets home and he sees her location following him. I don't know, guys. I feel like this relationship is not going to last. Obviously, we never want to see a relationship end, especially since they're so new to us as the viewers. I would kind of like to get to know a little bit more about them and then kind of say like, okay, you know what? Maybe they're not so good with each other. Next up, we have Natalie in the recording studio, and she shares that she grew up in the next neighborhood over from Ariana Grande. Honestly, guys, we've had singers on the show before. We had Sheena, we had Lala, we had DJ James Kennedy. And I have to say, although Natalie can be annoying in just this one episode, this girl can sing. So we'll see how far her singing career goes after Vanderpump Rules. In the next scene, we see where Lisa and Natalie are having a conversation at SUR. Natalie says she was looking through the cameras to look for something that she had lost. I feel like it was very much like producer setup or scripted in that sense. However, we'll never know. This is when Natalie, like Lisa's partner Natalie, not the bartender Natalie, says she caught Marcus, Jason, and Venus all taking shots and drinking on the job. While Lisa is very aware that servers have done this before, I mean, the old cast was very notorious for doing it. She shares that since VPR, especially over the last few years, has gotten like so big, and SUR has too, she now has an HR department. So what flew back then cannot necessarily fly now. And that I completely understand, having restaurant experience under my belt as well. Before Lisa's meeting, we see where Chris and Jason, the cousins, kind of have a little scene of their own. They go surfing, which I thought was kind of cool. They had a little GoPro on their surfboard and it like survived. And then we get to know a little bit more about them too. Jason is going to like acting school. They both were from the Netflix universe. Chris also wants to be an actor. He says he wants to be Flynn Rider in a live action Tangled. And honestly, I think that he could pull it off for sure. This is where they share that they were both strippers at one point, I guess before they were on reality TV, which I thought was kind of cool. To finish it off, we see Lisa holding a meeting with the entire staff. She addresses the drinking on the job from Marcus, Venus, and Jason. Jason was not there because he was in acting school, so the people that took the brunt of it were definitely Marcus and Venus. She tells Marcus to basically pack his things and go. He leaves, and I think this is the first time ever on Vanderpump Rules. I could be very wrong, but I think this is the first time where we've actually kind of broken the fourth wall, where a producer goes up to them, especially it being like the very first episode. I thought that was crazy. The meeting ends and Venus turns over to Natalie, who is a bartender, and says, "This is the first time I drink at work and I get caught." And my heart broke for him. I was like, oh my God, had that been me, I would have been pissed too. At the end of the meeting, Kim, Natalie, I forgot to mention Audrey. She was only in a few scenes. She is actually a host and she's 20. So Kim, Natalie, Audrey, and Venus all head to the back alley of SUR to have a kind of chit chat after the meeting. This is where we see kind of Kim come in on Marcus, her boyfriend, and says, you know what, like, I'm glad that this happened because hopefully like after this he can kind of wake up. Venus says, I doubt he'll ever drink after this, and Kim says, I don't think so. Yikes. She feels like this is not going to stop him, or this has not scared him enough to stop what he is doing. I don't know. I feel like I've seen this show before, but that was the episode. Let me know what y'all think. We got to also see a little preview of tomorrow's episode where Audrey turns 21. They all go out. We see the cousins, Chris and Jason, being, I think, her a little like lap dance, and it all looked like a very good time. We see where Marcus had a conversation with Lisa. He's crying a little bit, and the preview ends with Kim and Natalie arguing again. We'll see what kind of drama Audrey's birthday brings. Overall, like I said, after watching it the second time, I'm kind of warming up and it's growing on me. Listen, I'm a huge Vanderpump Rules fan. This was one of my very first franchises on Bravo. I think my very first were like New Jersey, Beverly Hills, and then this was like the iconic transition into Vanderpump. So back when I was like in my like late teens, early 20s, watching this show and being kind of close to a lot of these people's age, like in their 20s, I feel like we all grew up together, which is why I feel like a certain like closeness to the OG cast or the franchise in general. So I'm hopeful. I truly, truly am. I want to know what you guys think down below. Who's your favorite? My favorite so far has to be Venus. I think he's a star. I mean, I said it on Instagram. I think we found our number one guy in the group for this new reboot. However, it is the first episode, but I have high hopes for Venus. Pop off in the comment sections. Let me know what y'all think. Don't forget to follow us on all of our other social media so you guys never miss a reality check. Help us out with any little bit of engagement that you can. We're trying to get to 1,500 subscribers by the end of December, okay? I think we can do it. Pop off in the comments and we'll catch you guys later for some more reality checks. Bye, y'all. Happy Monday.